Jada Pinkett Smith, born September 18, 1971, is an A-list actress known for her roles in Set It Off, A Different World, and Girls Trip. Married to A-list actor Will Smith in December of 1997 after meeting on the set of The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Red Table Talk is a talk show on Facebook Watch hosted by three generations of women: Jada, her daughter Willow, and her mother Adrienne Banfield Norris. The show is meant to bring intimate conversations to the table that will enable a safe space to unleash your feelings and open the door to be transparent and bring light to topics not discussed on regular talk shows.
Your kids are gonna have their burdens. And even though I see how it might have hurt you, it's what I knew.
Yeah. Now, this all started back in 2015.
August Alsina is an incredibly talented R&B singer. He's had many hits. He came to see Willow and Jaden perform in 2015 in London. And that's where we met. And he asked me that day, he was like, man, I could really use some help dealing with life, you know? And then come to find out that he was abusing Percocet. August and I and my mother and the family as a whole has been pretty much on this journey with August towards his healing.
Years later, in 2019, August Alsina was on the Red Table Talk where he opened up about his drug addiction to pills and alcohol use.
They had to bring you back to life.
Yeah, I flatlined like twice, according to my boy, my security.
So you were given Percocets in order to deal with the pain of the fall.
Yeah, I literally had an endless supply of perks. Like, if you ask my brother, anybody, they like, yeah, I know all. I'm like raining perks off my body, off my house. I was literally raining pills like Skittles, for real.
What was revealed in this episode was Jada's role in helping August to become less dependent and eventually discontinue his addictions overall. He revealed what helped him most was her unconditional love for him and how his drug use was beginning to genuinely hurt her.
What was the moment that you decided you needed to get clean?
I don't know, I was on tour or something, but you called me and like literally broke down about it.
And I was just like, oh, something's got to give. You have, like, we can't love you more than you love yourself. I can't.
And see, that was the thing, right? So to feel your emotion and hear you bawling, I was like, that was really a reality check for me, because I was like, wow, if someone else can love you that much, that it hurts them, why doesn't it bother you that you're actually hurting yourself?
The problem with this situation was, before it was released that Jada and August had intimate relations, they portrayed themselves as having a platonic mother-son relationship. A relationship where Jada acted as a mentor for August while he was battling his demons with addiction. They were constantly spotted together taking pictures while being intimate in private. From his perspective, I could see why August began to fall for Jada as she was his light in the darkness, but soon it began to take a turn for the worst. Overall, the Red Table Talk was a massive success, but after the beginning of season 3, August's confession about him and Jada became a very hot topic that forced Jada and Will to bring themselves to the Red Table. August Alsina had a sit-down interview with the Breakfast Club's Angela Yee, where he discussed an already circulating rumor about him and Jada Pinkett Smith that began because of a song he released called Nanya.
August is dating Jada Pinkett Smith, and that was something that was circulating as a rumor, and that kind of solidified it to people. So what was the real situation with Jada Pinkett Smith? Because I don't know if you were pursuing her or you guys had just a close family type of relationship.
Contrary to what some people may believe, I'm not a troublemaker. You know, I don't like drama. Drama actually makes me nauseous, you know what I'm saying? And I also don't think that it's ever important for people to know what I do, who I sleep with, who I date, right? But in this instance, it's very different because, as I said, there's so many people that are side-eyeing me, looking at me questionable about it. I mean, I've lost money, friendships, relationships behind it, and I think it's because people don't necessarily know the truth, but I've never done anything wrong.
The reason for him discussing this, from what I took from the interview, it seemed it was because he was quote-unquote losing opportunities. But I also believe he released this information to heal the hurt and the trauma caused by Jada Smith, and confirmed the relationship in this interview, saying that Will Smith actually gave him his blessing to have relations with Jada.
Heart space is blocked. I don't really have a choice but to express my truth. I actually sat down with Will and had a conversation. Due to the transformation from their marriage to life partnership that they've spoken on several times, and it, not involving romanticism, he gave me his blessing. And I totally gave myself to that relationship for years of my life.
Previously in the past, Will Smith and Jada have always been accused of having an open relationship, but refutably denied those claims as untrue, claiming they have a strong bond that's inseparable.
Candidly, it's a very famous story, infidelity in the marriage and how you navigated that time.
There's never been infidelity in our marriage.
Never been infidelity in the marriage?
Never. Jada and I talk about everything, and we have never surprised one another with anything ever.
After the August interview with Angela, social media went into a frenzy. So Will and Jada decided to do damage control and took themselves to the red table to discuss the entanglements.
And to be able to make mistakes without the fear of losing your family is so critical.
Yeah.
Along the lines of Will and Jada's relationship, they began to grow apart, but they decided to remain a couple. They concluded together that they're going to remain married for reasons personal to them, but of course, I'm sure money plays a factor. Will has said before he will never again get divorced, and Jada, I'm sure, doesn't want that to happen either, in order to keep her family together. Jada has said herself that she was broken. She naturally feels it's in her position to help broken people instead of focusing on her own trauma. August at the time was extremely vulnerable, mentally and physically defeated. At the time for Jada, she saw someone she could fix that could physically and mentally make her feel secure and satisfied at the same time. August allowed her to enter his life, and the relationship transformed into a mental and physical dependency on August's part. He grew to love her beyond what he can even imagine. Him talking about how Will gave him his blessing to continue his relations with Jada is something I believe to be 100% true. There are photos of him and the family together online, family outings with their children, and at this point in time, August was in too deep, giving constant love to someone that was already taken by another man. To the point when it was over, it felt unimaginable for him. This is a man that was genuinely hurt by the situation. So when Jada laughed the relationship off and called it an entanglement and said that she entered the relationship because she saw a broken man that she could fix, that made her feel good about herself, that's when she most definitely in the public eye became the villain of the whole situation. Now, I would like to include that Will is also not innocent in this situation. Will and Jada have both claimed they were on the brink of divorce, and Jada didn't feel satisfied in the relationship. Will Smith has had numerous rumors about him having relations with different women in the industry, one of which was allegedly Margaret Robbie. The two met when they were casted for the 2013 movie Focus, where they apparently began to appear mighty close, and fans began to speculate whether the two had something going on.
That's not how I cannot reveal this question.
Really?
No, I cannot. No, absolutely not. I can tell you the answer though, and the answer is Will Smith.
Now, remember I said allegedly. Now, I'll leave that for the speculators. Now, let's move on. Will has also allegedly been playing sugar daddy to Vine star Lisa Koshy. There have been blogs that have been reporting on their subsequently close relationship. Allegedly. Now, let's be clear. Jada cheated, but Will has also cheated. They both cheated. Sometimes it's a case of reading in between the lines, and just because there isn't direct evidence like Jada out there, that doesn't mean it didn't happen. Will has had flings of his own, allegedly, but his were more discreet and didn't end in public chaos like Jada's. Now, after the Red Table Talk fiasco, Jada ended up taking a 3-month hiatus, and when she came back, there was a viewership decline. But most notably, there was a new image for the Smith family the entire entire entanglement debacle generated, a new meme-worthy talking point for social media. And y'all know Black Twitter ain't nothing to play with. The media buzz has most likely been causing an emotional turmoil for the Smith family, especially Will. The internet has declared that Will wasn't the man of his relationship anymore. Jada's the puppet master, and Will just can't seem to see through that. Social media just did a good job at emasculating Will Smith, with Will's multiple alleged allegations to Jada's confirmed one. Now, let's fast forward to 2022 Oscars. After a few years of Will being the butt of public jokes, Chris Rock made a distasteful joke about Jada's hair, referring to her as the next G.I. Jane. Now, with all due respect, I could truly understand why Jada wasn't feeling the joke too much. See, Jada suffers from alopecia and she has made several public statements regarding her issue. The joke was rude. Considering how Chris Rock himself knows how fundamentally important a Black woman's hair is to her, because he created the documentary Good Hair in 2009, and me personally, I have seen the documentary multiple times. He discussed the dangers of certain Black hairstyles and the importance of hair culture in the Black community. He also stated the reasoning for creating the documentary in the first place was because his young daughters at the time had some feelings about their own hair, which gave Chris the idea. Listen, all Black men know how important a Black woman's hair is to her. So him picking at her in front of the Oscars elite white and African-American A-list celebs wasn't necessary, to be honest. I'm aware he's a comedian, but given his history regarding Black hair culture and putting forth the effort to learn about the complexity and the importance of hair, this all could have been avoided. Now, after this ill-elicited joke, Will Smith prompted his black ass on stage and decided to smack Chris Rock. Now, I'd have to say this was the most unprofessional thing I've ever seen Will Smith do. Shit, I think this is the most unprofessional thing anyone has ever seen Will Smith do. He could have checked him later at the after party or something, but he didn't. And it wasn't a good look for him, nor our community, if I'm being quite honest. Now, we're going to flip it and reverse it back to what I said about the internet emasculating Will Smith. I feel like the reason he felt the need to do that right then and there was because he was tired of him and his family being the butt of jokes for the past few years, and that moment at the Oscars was his last straw. It was his way to show the world, especially men, that he is the man and you will not disrespect his wife. Chris just unfortunately got caught in the crossfire. And y'all, the internet had a field day with this one. I wouldn't say it was worse than an entanglement situation though. But anyways, Jada became the villain of it all, again. See, social media already didn't like Jada. Men already didn't like Jada. I honestly don't know what it is, but men seem to despise Jada for the August situation. They feel like Will is weak for staying with Jada through the whole entanglement drama, without considering the fact that there is a large possibility that Will, her, and August were already messing around. Think about it. With all the accomplishments Will has gotten over the years and the amount of praise and support he gets outside from the entanglement debacle, why on earth would Jada want Will to jeopardize his career by assaulting Chris Rock? That was completely his doing. She didn't make him or force him. He's a grown man that made an improper decision. A lot of men have this perception that Will is being manipulated by Jada just like August was. They say she hasn't been a good wife to him, but if we're being real, there isn't any true evidence that backs those statements up. The only wrong thing she has sincerely done was the August situation, and the people are more mad than Will. Will has never spoken against his wife, never called her out her name, and continued to be a supportive husband amid all the backlash. And that's what frustrates most people on social media. They believe Will should have been man enough to leave her and go on to live his best life without trying to understand that Will has already done that. He also was doing his side actions just like Jada.
I don't want to go through this no more.
Yeah, no, I don't either.
Yeah. I'm going to get you back first. And then
You gonna get me back? I think you got me back. I think we're good on that.
okay, that's probably true.
But
See, Will and Jada have said multiple times that divorce is not the answer, and it will never be. And that's what the public fails to understand. They may fight, but they are still deeply in love with each other, and they will never leave. And now Jada is the most targeted, not by the people who run the industry like Will, but the ones who run social media, the people. The small, important people who run social media are creating false headlines based on small portions of Red Table Talk interviews that diminishes Jada's character. And you know, people don't necessarily do their own research. They just see a headline, watch a clip, and boom, they create their own narrative, and she gets the bad press. And since the Oscar situation has been happening more frequently, like they're trying to find any reason to cancel the Smith family. Now, Red Table Talk itself isn't so bad, but the oversharing has gotten them into a hole they can't even get out of. It's simply too much information for the public, especially in the moment when they're completely being scrutinized. The moment you release personal information to the public, people aren't going to take it the way you think they are, whether it's a week after it's released or years down. It could be the top topic that leads to your downfall in the public eye. Red Table Talk is what I believe to be the worst thing that has happened to the Smith family. It created doors to be opened that has caused emotional and public turmoil that can't be undone. Honestly, it has plastered America's most elite, prestigious black families into the laughingstock of the industry. And honestly, I love this family. I love what they've done for the industry, and I love the representation that it brings. But when I talk about oversharing, when you see clips like this, it's like, what on earth is even going on right now?
Mother taught me about self-pleasuring because she wanted me to know that that pleasure was from me.
Exactly.
She didn't want me to fall into the hands of a man, and if he gave me pleasure, to think that that was him. Yeah. And she taught me at 9.
In the words of Kevin Samuel, you cannot make this stuff up. Honestly, I thought that shit was funny as hell. But this is an example of oversharing. Why did we need to know this? We actually watched, these past few years, sincerely watched every case scenario that has drastically went wrong with this family in the past few years. Like, these aren't the Kardashians. They actually made a name for themselves by actually putting in the work and the effort and the talent to be known for the family that they are. They've dealt with infidelity, assault, and public humiliation in the span of 2019 to 2022 as of now. It's very unfortunate, and I do believe they will bounce back from this, but at the end of the day, this will always be the information that's out in the public, and this will always be used to defame their character. But anyways, thank you for tuning in. Make sure you like and subscribe.